Vic Schaefer and the Longhorns women's basketball team are preparing for life without their star player. Chris Beard packs the Moody Center with Gonzaga coming into town with Drew Timme joining them as well. And lastly, somehow, Texas still has a football team. All this and more coming up next on College Crossfire.
Coming back to that 2021 MVP. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than Baker Mayfield. He's not better than Mahomes. I can't say that.
What? You miss a kick, you get kicked.
You know, a bag of money or whatever, some food inside of them. No, that is a great answer. How dare you? Oh, man.
Good evening, one and all, and welcome to College Crossfire, the best collegiate sports debate show in the world. I'm your host, Tommy Yarrish. I know, to everyone's chagrin, I'm back. Sorry. After a brief hiatus where our amazing executive producer, Jordan Galehood, filled in for me. Wonderful job from him. Let's give him a big hand, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Jordan. And unfortunately, with me back, we've got another great show lined up for you, as always. Let's go ahead and meet our contestants. On first base, our returning champion, but he's already screwed himself over tonight by talking bad about my Bears. They play his Falcons on Sunday, right? Sunday?
Yes, sir.
His good buddy Cordell Patterson only gave me 3 points last week in fantasy, so he's starting with -3 points tonight. It's Justin Goosman. Welcome back, Goose. How are you?
I'm great. You know, it sucks that I'm starting with -3 points, but like I said pregame, call me Damian Lillard. I don't run from the grind. Good to be here, ready to compete.
Sadly, we are fair here on College Crossfire, so he'll start even. But like the Falcons, he probably will lose tonight. Next to him on second base, I do love you, Goose, making his glorious return after blessing us with the wonderful quote that you saw in the trailer there: if you miss a kick, you get kick. A quote that was so good, Urban Meyer called me afterwards and told me he's coming to Austin to fill in for me while I was gone, but Jordan Galehood ultimately came in. He came like a mating call was waiting for him. It's Joseph Duffey. How's it going, Joe?
Doing great today, man. Cowboys broke me down on Sunday, but they can't break down my spirit for tonight. I'm ready to win.
You know, that's one thing we share in common. When do the Cowboys and Bears not let you down? Except for Sunday when they beat the Falcons. And last, but certainly not least, still riding his high horse of being in Minute Maid Park when the Houston Astros, or the Houston Sheetstros, I should say, won the World Series. He might kill me for saying that. It's Robert Gonsulin. What's up, Robert?
Hey, how are you doing, Tommy? You know what? Like, after saying that, I'm just going to say, tonight I'm going for that win by the one way I know how to. Like my favorite team,
banging trash
fair
cans.
and square.
Oh, well, that's another answer choice, too. Good to have all three of you here tonight with me. Let's get this show on the road. Texas women's basketball will start us off tonight, and they started the season as the #3 team in the country. A big part of that coming in was the presence of CFISD alumnus alongside me, by the way, Rory Harmon, who was listed as day-to-day with a foot injury. That's still the case. She hasn't played since November 4th, just the second game of the season. Although she struggled shooting the ball in her first 2 games this year, there's no doubt she's a special talent and a massive part of this team and their success. Vic Schaefer really missed her on Monday, an 83-76 loss to UConn. The question for you panelists is, if Rory Harmon is out for longer than just a few days, who needs to fill in for her and be the leader of this team? Justin, starting with you.
For me, it's Taylor Jones. With Rory Harmon out, it's really going to slow down the pace of play, which means that Texas is going to have to get the ball inside to their bigs in order to score. I think Taylor Jones is going to have a great opportunity to do that. Against Louisiana, she had 21 points and 5 blocks. The defense from Jones has been spectacular. Against UConn, she added a few blocks as well. Taylor Jones is really going to have to step up. Rory Harmon, although a guard, plays tremendous defense, and Taylor Jones plays great help defense. So whenever you lose a good perimeter defender, you're going to need to add some help defense. That's why I'm going with Taylor Jones.
Certainly a good answer, and Vic Schaefer all about that defense, even though they've struggled to start the year so far, and we saw that against UConn. Joe?
I'm looking more for the guard play. I'm looking at Shayla Gonzalez, the graduate transfer from BYU, who's now had so much experience in college basketball. She's came from the West Coast Conference, where she was the player of the year for the past 2 seasons. She's going to be a veteran for this team that is missing Rory Harmon. She's averaged 18 points a game in her whole career, but these past 2 games she's only had a combined 14 points. So that has to change, along with the turnovers that have plagued this team in the first 2 games. So I'm looking mainly at the guard play and Shirley Gonzalez to bring more veteran leadership for this squad and help the Longhorn ladies get more dubs.
Anytime that you transfer from a school like that and all of a sudden You're now on a team that's loaded up with star players. You can get off to a slow start trying to transition and realizing you're not the number one option anymore. So we'll see if Gonzalez can continue to transfer there. Robert, your thoughts?
You know, Tommy, I'm going to go with Taylor Jones, too. 15.5 points per game right now, 7 rebounds per game right now, 62.5% field goal percentage, and also going with 21 points in 22 minutes against UL Lafayette, and also 10 points and 8 rebounds against UConn. You know, she's top 80 right now in field goal percentage in the entire NCAA. That sounds like a lot, but there are so many players in women's college basketball. I think Taylor Jones is just your go-to girl right now. Big Shaver's definitely got a lot to look forward in her.
All right, 3 good answers. I'm going to give Justin 3 here. I like the answer with Taylor Jones just because she's already such a big part of this team. That's only going to increase now with Rory Harmon out alongside her. Robert, you'll get the 2. Joe, you get the 1 to start us off. The last time Chris Beard and the men's basketball team took on Gonzaga, it was in the Drew Timme Show out in Spokane, Washington, as he dropped 37 points on 15 of 19 shooting from the field up in Washington. This time, Mark Few and his team traveled down to Austin in the brand new Moody Center in front of a sold-out crowd. Tip-off took place just around a half hour ago. Edley, do we have a score update on that game?
I got you.
Edley Tamillion is going to find the score on that from that. But back to the question, Kevin, if you can scroll down for us. Our teleprompter is drunk tonight, by the way, so if we're a little slow, we apologize.
Texas leads 36 to 30.
Texas with a 6-point lead, 36 to 30 right now. We'll see how long that lasts. With such a high-key matchup to start the season, this is what Chris Beard wants. This is what his culture is all about. Big games at home. This is why you come to Texas has been their message. Coming into this matchup, what are the Longhorns going to have to do now to close out this game against an amazing program that has found so much success over the past few years? Joe, you start us off.
Well, coming into this Gonzaga game, this team only shot 7 of 36 from 3. That's 19.4%. They have to cash in from the perimeter and cash in from deep because they will not fly against a solid team in Gonzaga. You have to knock down from deep and then also play good defense against a solid number 2 team like them because they will not miss the easy opportunities. So you have to cash in from deep first of all.
All right, good answer there. And certainly, I went to that HCU now game against when Texas played on the home floor against me the last time they were at home. Terrible shooting. Only 3 made threes, and none of those came in a crucial time. Not that that game was ever really in crunch time, unless the score was 0-0. But nonetheless, you can't shoot that good against a team like Gonzaga.
Indeed,
Robert.
they did call it the Drew Timme Show last year when Texas played them, but he did average 18.4 points per game. He is ranked the #1 player in college basketball right now, but tonight it is going to be Timme time, but not for the Timme you're thinking of. It's Timmy Allen. Timmy Allen really needs to focus on out-rebounding Drew Timme all night and also getting help from Dylan Mitchell. If Dylan Mitchell and Timmy Allen can focus on winning this Drew Timme matchup the entire night, Marcus Carr is not going to have a hard time finding ways to score outside the perimeter and inside.
Timmy Allen certainly a big part of this matchup. They've actually started the game with Dylan DeSue guarding Drew Timme, so we'll see if that continues to be the case. Maybe they swap Timmy Allen on him, and Dylan Mitchell has been that guy on help defense who has helped the Longhorns out on the interior, and he's so good as just a true freshman. He won't be here long, by the way. Justin?
For me, it's going to have to be the experienced guys that take over. It's going to have to be Timmy Allen. It's going to have to be Marcus Carr. But another aspect of this game, as they mentioned with shooting, is going to be the defense. Can you create turnovers against Gonzaga? And can you hit those open looks when you have them? If you can speed up Gonzaga, this isn't one of the Zag team of old where they shoot a lot of threes with their guards. They like to get the ball down low to Timmy. If you can speed them up, you have a really good shot. So Texas needs to be able to speed them up with turnovers on defense and create opportunities with their offense, hit the open threes, stuff like that.
I'm going to go with Joe here with the 3 just because I think shooting the ball is such a good aspect, not only of this game, not good aspect, but important aspect that has to improve for this Texas team if they want to be legitimate contenders for national championships. If that, you get the 3. Robert, you get the 2. Justin, you get the 1, although those were all 3 answers, by the way. So, see, some positivity. I'm a nice guy, right? I'm a good host sometimes. Last question of this first block. And we made sure to leave this last, deservedly so, because right about now, Texas football doesn't deserve to be amongst the first of anything. An embarrassing loss at home in front of a sellout crowd and over 140 recruits, where the offense produced just 3 points against a TCU team that's defense has been its biggest weakness. If they want to even sniff the Big 12 championship, they have to win out and have Kansas State lose one of their next 2 games. In the next 2 weeks, the Longhorns play Kansas and then Baylor to close out the year at home. How More like, can Texas muster 2 wins in the next couple of weeks? Robert.
Well, it's going to be a long shot for them to even be
Yeah, no
considered
kidding.
the top team in the Big 12. But here's what they can do. Some people say you need to take a step back in order to move forward. I think you really need to work on skill positioning a lot more in practice this week. Quinn Ewers 17 for 39 in the TCU game. Let's work on reading down the field. Who are your open targets? He had Bijan Robinson wide open on a wheel route near the end of the game, and he didn't even look towards him. Also, let's work on the run game. Let's utilize it a lot more. I'm confident Texas is going to have an easier time using their run game against Kansas and Baylor. TCU is just a really good run defense. But only 29 yards against TCU. What are we doing? Let's hand the ball off more to you. See what you can do against these 2 teams. Let's also give it to Roschon Johnson and Keelan Robinson a lot more. Skill positioning practice, and let's hand the ball off a lot more.
I'm a big guy that thinks Keelan Robinson deserves more touches, but even in that game Saturday against Bijan Robinson, the TCU defense was just right at the line of scrimmage. They were owning the trenches. There was nothing going for them. And then on that wheel route, Robinson was actually Ewers' first read. By the time that he looked away was when Bijan got wide open, so just missed him on the route there. If he had waited half a second longer, that's 6 easy points for Texas. But nonetheless, Quinn Ewers has a lot of room to work on, and as a true freshman, essentially, you're expecting that. Justin?
For me, there's a couple of things. First, you do have to reestablish the run. Kansas is ranked 103rd in tackles for loss this season. I don't think it's going to be an issue for Texas to reestablish the run, get Bijan, get Roschon involved against Kansas. Another thing that Texas can do is get Quinn Ewers some easy looks into those screen passes to Worthy, to Sanders, and get him some easy looks against a team like Kansas so that he can get in rhythm for the game against Baylor. Against Baylor, you have to play great defense. They don't have a lot at receiver, but they play it all by committee. Texas is going to have to do a really good job stopping the run, continue the defense as they did against TCU, get Quinn Ewers back involved, and get the run game back involved. Texas could definitely pull off those 2 games.
Yeah, although Kansas is now somehow a scary game on the schedule, Baylor really is the team that's just so disciplined and so mature. Dave Aranda does a wonderful job down in Waco. Exciting 2 weeks to finish off. Joe?
Well, for me, I think Texas needs to stop being so cute and stop trying to go for the deep routes and a lot of motioning. You really can just do the ground and pound game with Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, but also emphasizing the medium routes with Jatavion Sanders and Jordan Wington, which I don't understand why they don't get more targets. Instead of just Xavier Worthy with the deep shot and the home run shot, they can focus more with the ground and pound game with Bijan or Roschon, and then every now and then you can dink and dunk it now to the medium routes with Whittington and Sanders, who deserve more targets, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and that's Steve Sarkisian's offense is those deep shots. But unfortunately, he doesn't have Mac Jones and Devontae Smith like he did in Alabama. He's got Quinn Ewers, a true freshman, and Xavier Worthy, who's a sophomore only. They just not at the same level just yet. It takes time, it takes practice, and those 2 have not had a lot of either of that as of late. We're 3 questions in, and we've got a good battle on our hands. As always, the front runner early is Justin, sadly, with 7 points. Right behind him is Joe with 6 points, and rounding us out is Robert with 5. Still anyone's game, though, and a lot of time left to go, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on College Crossfire. Welcome back to College Crossfire. We'll start with a quick score recap. In first place with 7 points, Justin Goosman. Right behind him with 6, Joe Duffey. And last but certainly not least, Robert Gonsulin with 5. Let's get right back on track, fellas. The Eagles finally lost a game, and of course, it was to well-known Titan Slayer Taylor Heineke and the Washington Commanders of all teams. Yes, you heard that right. Jalen Hurts seems to be among the front of the pack in the MVP race with names like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and my clear pick, Justin Fields, alongside him. Good job not reacting to that. In your opinion, who is the MVP frontrunner at this point in the season? Robert, we'll start with you.
I'm taking a different position here. Running back Saquon Barkley out of New York. Let's take a moment to appreciate the NFC East. 3 great teams. Commanders right there.
Titan Slayer, though.
Yeah, Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants. But people say you need to have a good team in order to have a good MVP. Saquon Barkley, 931 yards, leading the league in rushing right now. Derrick Henry is right behind him with just a couple yards back. But they're a 6-3 team. I think the Giants and Saquon Barkley, they're doing what they have to do. I think it's more interesting to see a running back play really well than the quarterback, honestly, especially when they're on their game. It's Saquon Barkley.
Well, Saquon Barkley is certainly not hard to pass by playing better than his quarterback, considering it's Daniel Jones. Nonetheless, good year for Saquon. Good to see him back healthy as well. Joe?
I have to go with Patrick Mahomes. I don't even think it is close. The whole story of the offseason was how the AFC West was loading up and it was going to be a bloodbath with the addition of Devontae Adams to the Raiders, and then Russell Wilson gets traded to the Broncos. And how would the Chiefs fare with the loss of Tyreek Hill? Well, they didn't skip a beat at all, with Patrick Mahomes still passing for 27 touchdowns and also leading the league in passing yards. They have not skipped a beat at all, and they still look as dangerous as before, now with Travis Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster in addition, and of course the play calling Andy Reid. This team is not going anywhere, and if they close the season well, they will still be a threat. Patrick Mahomes is the reason for that.
Travis Kelce, I'm a big fan of his, not just because he's the leading scorer on my fantasy team, but he's a damn good tight end. Justin, close out.
Unfortunately, I have to go with the boring pick as well, following up Joseph right here. It's Patrick Mahomes. He lost Tyreek Hill, who has widely been considered an MVP candidate across mainstream media. When you lose a guy like that and don't see any production drop-off, how can you not be considered the MVP? The Chiefs are still one of the best teams in the league, if not the best, and Patrick Mahomes has the most touchdowns and most yards in the NFL. For me, it's clear and simple. It's got to be Mahomes.
Well, boys, all 3 of you are incorrect. I was looking for one answer there to get 3 points, so instead you're each getting 2. Justin Fields is the clear MVP pick. I don't know what we're doing here, guys. I don't know what we're doing here. We want the best player. Justin Fields is the best player in the NFL. I thought you were going to say Marcus Mariota, but nonetheless, Justin Fields is the MVP pick. So for that, you all get 2 points. I'll be nice there. So you can stop booing me in the crowd. I'm just being honest. He's the best player in the NFL. If you don't believe me, fight me. I'm not hard to find. We're barely halfway through the month of November, and as John Rothstein would call it, it's been the epitome of brutality for some teams in college basketball like Louisville, TCU, Florida State, and others. As the best sport in the world continues to amaze us all in the early goings, who has been the biggest disappointment in college hoops to start off the year? Joe, start us off.
For me, it has to be the TCU Horned Frogs. They finished kind of slightly above expectation of where they were in the NCAA tournament last season. That caused them to be a top 15 team in the preseason polls. But then they are struggling against Arkansas Pine Bluff, and then they lose a few days ago to Northwestern State. This team is supposed to be a Big 12 contender, and if they want to get the Big 12 championship, they're going to have to find a sense of urgency because they start slow almost every game. So they need to pick it up because they've been my biggest disappointment this season.
Are you telling me that you don't believe in well-known basketball powerhouse Arkansas Pine Bluff? Are you kidding me?
Looks to be that way, man.
The pine cones over there, I'm assuming that's their mascot, are ballin'. That's probably not their mascot. Justin.
I'd have to go with Florida State. They're having their worst start in Leonard Hamilton's 19-year tenure with that squad, and they have looked absolutely abysmal with losses to UCF, Stetson, and I can't remember their final loss. They picked up their first win against Florida today, but they have looked atrocious in all areas of the game with turnovers. They can't defend. They can't shoot. It has to be Florida State. I don't know where they go from here with 3 losses to non-Power 5 schools as a team in the ACC that has seen lots of success. They have to be the biggest disappointment.
Well, maybe beating Florida could be a turnaround moment for them. It's always good to beat your in-state rival.
That is true.
Nonetheless, certainly a disappointing start, and that's why they were on that list. Robert, close us out.
First off, Arkansas Pine Bluff Bears, if I'm not mistaken.
They're the pine cones now.
Don't quote me on that one. But I think this answer is crystal clear. It's Tennessee. They started out as 11th ranked in the nation, and then they lost to Colorado by 12. They were losing to them at half by 2, if I'm not mistaken on that one either. And now they're dropped down to 22. Rick Barnes, you have a storied program in your hands right now, and now you've dropped 11 spots in the AP poll. I don't think that Tennessee's off the track right now, but I definitely think they're not the SEC team we were looking for this season. I know it's just so early on in the season. We should be trying to build our hype, not drop a second game. Rick Barnes, yeah, I think your team's not the one we're looking for.
Well, tell us how you feel about Rick Barnes. Good answers all the way across the board. So many disappointments to start off the year, but Joe, I'm going to agree with you. I think TCU is by far the biggest, just because they had such high expectations coming in. They keep so much of that roster that did so well for them, and it's just not a good start. So you get the 3 here. Robert, you get the 2. Goose, you get the 1. Last question here in this second block. The most fun event that takes place every 4 years starts this weekend. It's the World Cup. It's back. It's in Qatar. A lot is on the line in this one, as star players like Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are playing potentially their last go-around of the World Cup, both searching for their first win for their native countries. Panelists, who takes home the coveted gold trophy this year in Qatar? Justin?
I'm going to go with the USA. I mean, I have to. I don't care. Say what you want, but the U.S. has built the youngest squad in the pool, and they're really going to speed up the game. This is a world game that doesn't see nearly as much speed as some of these league matches, so the U.S. is really going to speed up the game. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare against England, but with the youngsters on that team, I think if they can get past pool play, they can do anything. They could be something really special. You never know. USA. That's all I got to say.
If I could give negative points out on this show, you would have all of your points eliminated, erased, gone. El pobre, as we would say in my... unfortunately, my Cuban team is not in the World Cup. Otherwise, they would be my pick for sure. Joe, please have a better pick than that.
For me, it has to be the favorite, which is Brazil.
That's a much better pick.
Led by the veteran Neymar and a young stud in Vinny Jr. I believe this team is going to take it home, and not only because they're young, but also because they're firing. They have much speed in the midfield. Also, they have to get past their rival Argentina, which contains one of the GOATs, Messi. I think they can do it, though. They'll have to get past Argentina, though.
Certainly, Lionel Messi is always a tough challenge, but he's a lot easier than the U.S. of A. Robert?
Not the favorite, but a key contender, France, the defending champions. 4 years is a long time to happen between each World Cup. The only thing that can happen without injuries, put injuries aside, is they get better. Kylian Mbappe, think about all the talent he's been playing with recently at PSG, Neymar, Sergio Ramos, Messi, and then Paul Pogba over at Juventus. They've only gotten better. I mean, yes, they may not be the favorite team right now. It is Brazil, but their path does seem a little bit easier. I think if I have to pick someone who's going to win the World Cup right now, it's the defending champions, France.
France, Brazil, certainly good picks. The USA, not one. So for that, Robert, you're going to get the 3. Joe, you get the 2. And he gets a point. We're 6 questions in with 3 to go, and it's still wide open on the leaderboard. A little bit different now. Joe leads us with 13 points. Right behind him is Robert with 12, and deservedly following in last is Justin with 11. It's still a 1-point spread across the board. We've got one more round to go. You know what that means. Rapid Fire is coming up next on College Crossfire. It's time for the last 3 questions of the night for us here on College Crossfire, and you know what that means. It's the rapid fire round where the points are double, so it's anyone's game. And before we get into this, I just want to clear up, Arkansas Pine Bluff is the Golden Lions, but I will still refer to them as the Pine Cones. Maybe the Golden Pine Cones. Anyways, if you're new to the show, Rapid Fire is our 3rd and final segment where our contestants will have to answer 3 questions just like they have in the last 2 rounds. But this time, they have no idea what I'll be asking. Everything is off the cuff. They say defense wins championships. That is completely false. Rapid fire wins championships. Let's find out who tonight's champion will be. Here we go. There are all kinds of cool ways that mascots take the field. Like, for example, Purdue's Train, which hilariously broke down against Iowa earlier this year. And even live mascots like Ralphie at Colorado, who in my opinion is the best live mascot in the game, by the way. Sorry, Bevo, still love you. Charging down the field to start off the game over there in Boulder. If you were a mascot, number 1, what would you be? And 2, how would you creatively take the field and take your team out of the locker room in front of a bunch of hyped up fans? That's a loaded question, so take a couple seconds, think about it. Think about the Golden Pine Cones showering down from atop the stadium. Everybody's going crazy for Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Okay, so I would be a bulldog just because I think bulldogs are hilarious. They look funny. And if you watch the Texas versus TCU game, or were at that game, we saw like 8 different people parachute onto the field. I don't think there could be anything better than having a bulldog parachute onto the field. That would be amazing. Come on. I think
you got him right here. You get him. That's extremely dangerous, man.
No, you'd have someone up there to keep him safe. Nothing bad would happen.
What, hold him?
Yeah.
What if he drops him?
No, he has his own parachute too. It's fine.
Okay, so the bulldog is going to be parachuting in. That's actually not a bad idea as long as the dog is safe. I have a soft spot for dogs. So, good answer to start us off.
First of all, I'd be a cowboy. And what I would do is I would charge out. And basically what we're going to do is like what they do in the cowboy shows where they lasso and they set it like, say, a goat out. And the goal is to like lasso the goat and make sure you get him in your grasp. PETA can cry about it. So it's a show, and that's how we're going to introduce myself to the crowd.
PETA, well-known enemy of College Crossfire now through 2 questions. We don't care about you, PETA, and you should not care about us either. Robert, close us out.
All right, let's make this make sense. One of those costume tigers like at Auburn, or doesn't matter about the school, but it's tiger. And I know you like to say cargo vroom. I say motorcycle go vroom. Vroom, vroom. Let's go. Coming out through the field, through a giant tunnel with the tiger handlers in the back on other motorcycles with me. I got a whole posse going. Squad rolling deep.
That should be nice.
Squad rolling deep for Robert. So I have to ask, are you a live tiger or a little...
No, the costume one.
Oh, well, if it's a tiger riding a motorcycle, that would have been 10 times cooler.
No, live. We're going live.
Joe, I have an idea. You're getting the 6 points here, by the way, but I want to add on to your point. What if you lassoed the other team's mascot before every game? That's
I'm not trying to get any pregame
idea.
fights, though.
Colleges, hire me. Oklahoma State, I'm looking at you. You're the only Cowboys that I know of. So, Joe, you get the 6 here. Robert, you get the 4 because I like motorcycles and I like tigers. And then, Justin, you get the 2. I think PETA would give you the 2 as well. But then again, they could say the same thing for Joe, but nonetheless, PETA's not here, and they never will be. College football season is almost, sadly, over, but that does mean that bowl season is right around the corner, and Texas, miraculously, is going bowling. There are currently 43 bowl games as of right now, all sorts of names and corporate sponsors for all of them, behind them as well. Panelists, if you could make your own bowl game, what would you name it, and who would you have sponsor it? Try to think of someone that doesn't have a bowl already.
Okay.
I know the PETA Bowl is not an acceptable answer.
Can we go the TSTV Sports Bowl, sponsored by TSTV? We will host a bowl. It will be held, I don't know, we'll hold it in Houston.
Houston?
NRG Stadium,
You know
TSTV sponsored.
No.
I'll play quarterback. Tommy will play quarterback. We can settle it on the field instead of Falcons Bears. TSTV Sports Bowl.
To be fair, me at quarterback against him at quarterback would probably be a better quarterback matchup than Justin Fields and Marcus Mariota, just because Justin Fields is miles better. But nonetheless, I would kick his behind. So TSTV, you've got money lying around. Set it up. I'll fly out to Houston, parachute in, like his bulldog. and take him down.
There's no money.
I'm going for 350 and 250 on the ground with 18 touchdowns as well, by the way. So you're losing like 270 to nothing. You're not scoring, by the way. I have a personal vendetta against you this week.
Wow.
Joe.
I'm going to go with the Ironworks Barbecue Bowl, my favorite barbecue restaurant
Wow.
in Austin here so far. I got to go with it staying right here, of course, in Austin. It'll be played, let's say, maybe at like a nearby stadium. I can't think of one really right now, but
House Park.
What the heck?
house party. But I guess you can just have a lot of barbecue there, serve the barbecue-themed kind of rodeo-style bowl game. It'll be the Ironworks Barbecue Bowl, and you should have 2 Texas teams there, I should think.
We got 2 hashtag ad guys right here for local Austin area stuff. So, Robert, are you going to follow in their footsteps or go broader?
Tommy, have you ever heard of Flex Seal?
I have. How have I not heard of Alex Jones and Flex Seal? Do you want to see me split a bone in half and fix it with Flex Seal?
You put that tape on anything, it fixes anything.
Absolutely.
We're doing the Flex Seal Twisty Treat Bowl. Have you ever been to Straight Judgment right outside my high school? There's this giant ice cream cone. It's a store. It's
Oh
an
my
ice
God,
cream store.
Twisty Treat is a
It's
Houston
just
staple.
Hey, that's where I first found out about it. It was always a joke of mine with my dad to call it, hey man, when's the Twisty Treat Bowl coming on? It's the Flex Seal Twisty Treat Bowl coming your way. Mac versus the Sun Belt.
Wow. Just because Twisty Treat is a staple of mine and lies deep in my heart, and my Vipe U brethren over here has a perfect answer. Yeah, throw up the U. Shout out Vipe. You're getting the 6 here on that. That's a perfect idea. I love Flex Seal. Would use it on anything. I think if you made the stadium out of Flex Seal, that would be even better, to be completely honest with
I
you.
think they're gonna make Flex Seal tape for like the floors, you know? Like,
There you go. That's the grass.
The yard line.
So, Robert, you get the 6 here. Joe, you get the 4. And Justin, just because I would absolutely obliterate
Wow.
you get the 2.
Wow, this has to be rigged.
It is. Over the past few weeks, we've seen players like Kevin, can you move? Thank you, sir. Kirk Cousins and Taylor Heineke get absolutely dripped out in layers upon layers of diamond chains to the hilarity of social media, and deservedly so after their big games, because nothing is better than midday Kirk Cousins and Taylor Heineke against a team that's miles ahead better of his. Who would you say is the best dressed player across all sports? This is a loaded question. A lot of people to think about here. I'm looking for one answer in particular. If you answer correctly, you win the game.
Okay, they lost this last weekend, but Jalen Hurts pulled up in a all-purple suit, looked like the Joker. He was dripped out. I think, honestly, it might have to go to Jalen Hurts. He puts together some great fits, always looks extremely professional. I mess with the style. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. I won't give you the satisfaction of choosing Justin Fields, so I'm going with Hurts, the better of the 2 mobile quarterbacks.
I will say I am a big fan of Jalen Hurts. See, you've got me in this mode now. Jalen Hurts, his game, his style. But he said he's dressed like the Joker. Well, the Eagles looked like a joke on Sunday, or Monday. Was it Monday, Thursday, whatever? Whenever they played, they barely showed up anyways. Joe?
Some like the chains, some like the earrings. Give me Jared Allen from the Cleveland Cavaliers. You wouldn't even know who he was, maybe. Well, he's 6'11". He's
Yeah.
6'11".
Can't hard to miss.
Can't
And an
really miss
afro.
him though. But the best dressed player in the league, he's dripped out to the brim with the big old afro, the sweater, sometimes the turtleneck, and the cardigan. Give me that guy all day. That's the best drip player in the whole world.
That's some Joseph Duffey type drip
Indeed.
in there. Like, look at this man.
Keep it nice.
You're nice and basic, but it's clean. It works. It flows. And that's what we're all about here at TSTV. Unless you're Justin Goosman. Robert, your thoughts?
Give me DeAndre Hopkins. No longer a Houston Texan, but an Arizona Cardinal. And I know that the league didn't always, like, in terms of who's the best dressed, they didn't always focus on him. But the Houston Texans would always post what he's wearing on the way to the games. And this guy, he would post it himself too, but he would be dripped out all the way to his ankles, and he'd be going bedazzled shoes and loafers. Then he'd be advertising what he would be drinking too. He would always have like some Starbucks mug or cup. And I feel like if you're gonna advertise what you're wearing, it goes above and beyond to the accessories you have too. If he's gonna advertise what he's drinking also on the way to the game, I think it's some swag right there.
DeAndre always impresses me with his fits, and I'm a big fan of bedazzled shoes and the likes of those. Robert, you're going to get the 6 here. Joe, you get the 2, and Justin, even though you dissed Justin Fields, you still get. I'm actually still going to take 2 points off of you just because you dissed him, so you get a 2 as well. It wouldn't have mattered anyways, but nonetheless, great way to close out the show. I do really appreciate having you here, and it's going to be even better if the Bears win next week, trust me, so please come back. As you all know, there can only be one winner. Tonight's winner is, drumroll please, I invite you, brother, Robert Gonsulin. Congratulations, Robert. Cece, do we have time for FaceTime? Yes, we do. Robert, take it away.
You know, I was really honored to be out here tonight and win, and it was very, very fun doing it with y'all, Joseph and Goose. But, you know, Astros win. I said I was going to come in fair and square just like them. Won it right away, you know. Came in late in the rapid-fire round, but, you know, fair and square, baby.
Congratulations to our winner, Robert, my guy from the U, and a huge thanks to Justin and Joe for joining us tonight. You guys are great as always, even though you really don't like me right now. That'll do it for us here in the TSTV studios. Before you go, remember to completely ignore what he's showing you here and come back Friday mornings for the One and Only Sports Show and Monday nights for College Crossfire. Oh, you have more! He has all of his Falcons memorabilia. What is this? Hey, here's the thing, folks. You won't believe this. Chicago has a franchise quarterback for the first time in my lifetime. I can finally buy a Bears jersey. I'm getting a Justin Fields jersey. Finally. Anyways, huge thank you to our wonderful live studio audience for coming out and being great as usual tonight. For our contestants, everyone in Master Control, our executive producer who does a wonderful job as always, Jordan Gilhood, and all the other great folks at TSTV, my name is Tommy Yarrish saying good night and see you next time.
Yay!
Good job, guys. That's what you had hidden. I was like,
What'd she say?
you were like, I'll just wait till FaceTime.
Jump
I'm
around
like, what are
the
you
shot.
talking about?
Oh yeah, you're